What's up, everybody? I am SleepyG, and in today's video, we're going to be reacting to a video by TPS, a channel I watch from time to time. Not one of the main channels I watch, but I do like sports, and they do sports stuff. The video is called 10 NFL Draft Picks That Made No Sense Then and Still Don't. Now, again, before we dive too deep into this, I like sports, okay? Baseline, like you toss somebody into the world sports and they kind of just have a general knowledge of it. That's me. I wish I had a deeper like understanding of everything, like what goes on, uh like the inner workings of it all, right? Like being able to keep up with like how every player feels about their team, and not just like the major characters, or characters, the same Madden, the people feel, and like knowing the coordinators and head coaches of all the teams, and just like I'm not super into that. Like I can't tell you who the fucking offensive coordinator for the fucking Cleveland Browns is, right? Like I know a lot more about the Panthers because I'm a fucking Panthers fan, but I do know I do have some gut feelings about some players. Now keep in mind I've only been watching football for like, or keeping up with it officially since like I want to say 2016 or 17. So, the beginning of the end essentially for a little while for the Panthers. But I was there for some good moments, right? And yeah, that's what we're going to get into. Sorry about weird long intro. Thank you guys so much for 250 subs. And yeah, I also figured I'd just switch it up a little bit. I have a lot of FNAF songs I got to get to, but fuck it. I just seen this as on my recommended, so why not?
Every year, the NFL has its annual draft to collegiate players will land to begin their NFL careers. However, some of these picks really make you scratch your head.
I actually like Colin or Cleveland. I don't know how. Okay, so real quick with his name, and specifically this guy, I have been told his name is pronounced Colin and Cleland and Clellan. I have I originally called him Cleland, right? Because CLE, Cle, right? Like Cleveland. And then somebody said it was Colin, and I didn't believe them. And then I heard somebody else say it was Colin, and now I'm just lost. But I actually liked him, even though he wasn't great, obviously. But I liked him. He was like a. I feel like if he had been taken like late second, early third rounder, he might be more better. Again, I don't know a crazy. I don't know his stats specifically. I don't know anybody's stats specifically. Um, Hopefully, I will in the future when I have the chance to watch more games and be able to go through and look at everything a lot more in depth. That's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, I like him.
Raider fan is like, wait a minute, I thought we were going to get Josh Allen.
Ooh, wait, was he taken right before Josh? That's a trade the Raiders would make in a fucking heartbeat.
Even with hindsight, some guys getting picked by certain teams just made no sense. So today, we present to you 10 NFL draft picks that still make no sense. Buccaneers pick Robert Aguayo at the second round of the 2016 NFL Draft. When NFL teams draft a kicker, they usually tend to draft them in the very late rounds of the draft. Well, that wasn't the case with Robert Aguayo, who was drafted by the Buccaneers with the 59th pick in the second round of the 2000.
Wouldn't that make him like one of like the earliest drafted kickers in a long time? Like I know there's been a kicker taken in the first round. I think he was taken by like either the Raiders or the Packers. I have no clue. But like, yeah, who the fuck takes a kicker in the second round? Right? This ain't fantasy. Right? What are we doing? I mean, I guess it's Tampa, so I don't really care. But what are we doing?
2016 draft. Bucs general manager Jason Licht traded away third and fourth round picks to the Kansas City Chiefs to move up and acquire the two-time
Yeah, safe to say he lost his job. That was stupid. I'm sorry. I'm gonna grab my keyboard real quick so that this is a little easier. All right.
Manager Jason Light traded away 3rd and 4th round picks to the Kansas City Chiefs to move up and acquire the 2-time All-American, thinking,
oh God, the kicker's not going to be there in the 3rd or 4th round. We panic, give them all away. Can we give the team away? 100 million. Let's make it happen.
that he is going to be their kicker long-term. Instead, Aguayo flopped in the league, kicking 22 of 31 field goals as a rookie and converting 32 of 34 extra points. And ultimately, he was waived in 2017.
It's never easy. I'll just get right to it. We're gonna release you, but I do want to tell you that we appreciate everything you've done for us.
Aguayo bounced around the league with brief stints with the Chicago Bears, the Los Angeles Chargers, and New England Patriots, and has a 71% field goal percentage.
Ooh.
Aguayo was the highest drafted kicker since Mike Nugent back in 2005. But
oh yeah, see, I was right. The Raiders took one in the 1st round. But wow, that's crazy. Who the fuck drafts a kicker in the first 3 rounds? There's no reason, right? Even like, and I hate to say it because like every position on the field is important, especially last year, right? Last season, I think there was like a record high in like fucking points kicked for. I have no clue. I just heard that there was a lot of fucking field goals, right? But in the earliest rounds, I think any kicker should go is like the 4th round, right? I'm sorry. That's like that's literally just my opinion. And again, that's like no disrespect to them. I fucking I couldn't even kick like a 5-yard field goal. Fuck, man, it's stupid.
he had a longer career, and he had a field goal percentage of 81%. Commanders drafting Emmanuel Forbes over Christian Gonzalez in 2023. The Commanders drafted Forbes with the 16th pick of the 2023 NFL Draft, hoping that he would become a shutdown corner and keep opposing wide receivers under control. Then Commanders general manager Martin Mayhew referred to Forbes as the total package. Yeah, about that. Forbes was benched midway in his rookie season, as he had 1 interception and was bullied by A.J. Brown, who had 130 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns in a Week 8 game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Forbes played in 14 games in his rookie season and started in 6 of them. Meanwhile, cornerback Christian Gonzalez was still on the board and taken 1 pick later by the New England Patriots. And he's become a Pro Bowler and played very well in Super Bowl 60, even though the Patriots lost that game against the Seahawks.
Christian Gonzalez is a fucking demon. I also didn't know that they went in the same draft. I thought Christian Gonzalez was drafted in like 2023. Wait, was it the 2023 draft? When was Christian Gonzalez drafted? I feel stupid. I know he just said it. But yeah, who the fuck looks at somebody who weighs like 130 pounds and goes, yep, that's our guy. Like, I get that lighter means faster, right? But at some point, you're too light, too fragile, and you're getting outmuscled by guys like fucking Robbie Chosen Anderson. Or fucking, who's another really tall, light one? I can't think of one off the top of my head. Marquise Brown, maybe? I don't know.
Raiders drafting Clelin Ferrell at 4 in 2019.
I already talked about him.
So when the Raiders shocked the NFL world by drafting Ferrell at the 4th pick of the 2019 NFL Draft, they thought they were getting an elite edge rusher who would cause havoc against opposing offenses and replicate the production that Khalil Mack left behind. Yeah, so Ferrell had an okay rookie year. He had 38 tackles, 4.5 sacks, the most in his career so far, 5 pass deflections, and a fumble recovery. However, Ferrell just lacked the fierce pass rush production. He did have 10 sacks in 58 games for the Silver and Black and had to work with multiple defensive coordinators throughout his time with the team. As the Raiders have a coaching turnover problem. Ferrell would eventually get outclassed by Max Crosby, who was drafted by the Raiders in the 4th round of the 2019 draft and has since become a 5-time Pro Bowler. Ferrell has since had stints with the San Francisco 49ers, Washington Commanders, the Los Angeles Chargers, and is currently back with the 49ers.
If you want to ruin a young player's career real early, just cycle them right the fuck through goddamn coordinators and head coaches, dude. It'll fucking ruin them. Or in the case of like Kellen Mond, just have a coach that doesn't fucking talk to him. Like, how are you gonna coach an NFL team? Have somebody get drafted to your team, you're paying them, and then just go, Yeah, I'm not gonna speak a fucking word to you.
49ers trade 3 first-round picks to move up and draft Trey Lance in 2021. Lance's playing time at North Dakota State was limited, but he had 17 starts for the Bisons and helped the team win 2 FCS national championships. Despite the limited playing time, the 49ers traded away 3 first-round picks, 2021.
Almost a 67% completion rate, only 2,700 yards, and 28 touchdowns. Is that a run-heavy offense? I don't feel like that's a lot of yards. It's good average yards per pass, per attempt, or whatever. That's a very that's that stat line right there, right? I feel like it's what's the word? It's like very deceiving, right? And I mean, obviously, it turned out to be, but like even if I were to have that stat line in like in Madden, or if I were to see that in real life, right? I wouldn't trust that that's the guy. Like that's not somebody I would trade a lot of picks for or like pay. I would think that's maybe somebody who could definitely develop into somebody better, because like the 0 interceptions thing is really fucking impressive. I guess it also depends on who his receivers were. I have no clue. It's just really deceiving. I feel like if you have that many touchdowns and not that many yards, clearly the backs are doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
In 2022 and 2023, and a 2022 third-round pick to the Miami Dolphins to draft Lance and make him the 2023.
Dolphins got the 6th overall, 5th round, 2021. Jalen, Bradley, and Tyreek. Jesus. Yeah, that's awful. That's an awful trade.
And a 2022 third-round pick to the Miami Dolphins to draft Lance and make him their next starting quarterback, even though they still had Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster. Lance was the second-string quarterback behind Garoppolo and was thrust into starting action after Garoppolo suffered a calf injury in a Week 4 game against the Detroit Lions. Lance started in 2 games for the Niners that season and had a 1-1 game against back behind Garoppolo and was thrust into starting action after Garoppolo suffered a calf injury in a Week 4 game against...
See, okay. I'm sorry I'm pausing a lot. You should have expected this. But being thrusted into it, right? Thrusted into a position like that, right? You get drafted, you've worked your whole life, all right? This is your game plan, is to play in the NFL. Now, getting thrusted in, that's more like we're going to toss you in week 1, 100%, no doubt. That's not really being thrusted in. After like 3 weeks, I feel like that's a fair amount of adjustment time. Now, is it still going to be stressful? Oh, hell yeah. But like at some point you're going to play, especially if you're the 1st overall pick. So pressure is to be expected. I don't know if he was expecting to go 1st overall. I imagine he was projected to be a 1st rounder in general. If they were trading up for the 3rd overall or the 1st overall pick for him, or 3rd, not 1st. But like 3 weeks, I feel like that's a decent amount of time as an NFL player. Again, I don't know. As an NFL player to adjust. I mean, fuck, Baker Mayfield did it overnight, so...
The Detroit Lions. Lance started in 2 games for the Niners that season and had a 1-1 record as a starter, completing 41 passes for 603 yards, 5 touchdowns against 2 interceptions, rushing for 168 yards on 38 carries, and scoring a rushing touchdown. 2022 was much rougher, as Lance went 1-1 as a starter, completed 15 passes for 194 yards, throwing an interception and rushing for 67 yards on 16 carries as he dealt with a season-ending ankle injury in Week 2 against the Seattle Seahawks. Luckily, Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy emerged and helped the 49ers reach the NFC Championship game.
Bye-bye, Trey Lance.
Was traded to the Dallas Cowboys before the start of the 2023 season, with the 49ers rolling with Purdy as their starting QB. Honestly, drafting Lance made the 49ers look silly, as they made a real bad gamble. And as we mentioned earlier, the man got outplayed by Mr. Brock Purdy, who saved the day and has since kept the 49ers afloat in the NFC West.
Tough.
Bears trading up to draft Mitch Trubisky 2nd overall in 2017. After finishing the 2016 season with a 3-13 record, the Bears needed a new signal caller running the offense on field. So they decided to take a massive gamble and traded 2 third-round picks and a 4th-round pick to the 49ers to move up and draft Trubisky. Trubisky picks into 4th.
Oh, okay, the 3rd overall pick. Okay. Okay, I got really confused there. They traded for some reason I thought they straight up just traded 2 thirds and a 4th. I didn't see the 3rd overall at the top. Sorry.
Round pick to the 49ers to move up and draft Trubisky. Trubisky had limited starting time during his collegiate days with the UNC Tar Heels, as he started in 1 season for them and played in 13 games, but the Bears deemed him the best quarterback on the draft board.
That's another thing, right? That's another thing that kills me when it comes to like drafting people. If they didn't play that many games, even if due to injury, right? Like depending on the injury, if they didn't play that many games, why the fuck are you drafting them on such little amounts of data and whatnot, right? That's so stupid. I know there's a lot of dumbasses in the NFL, okay? I'm not doubting that one bit. There's dumbasses everywhere you go. But what are we doing? Yeah, in about 4.5 minutes of gameplay, he tossed up a 1-play touchdown. Guy was wide open. Cornerback was on his ass. Yeah, I'm gonna make that the 6th overall pick in the 2031 draft. He's gonna be my starting quarterback. I get there's projects, but then there's just being a fucking idiot. Okay, that's what I thought about Anthony Richardson when he got drafted. Right? Again, not a bad prospect. Okay, and honestly, I do think that maybe something can happen with Anthony Richardson down the line. I don't think it's too late. Obviously, it's never too late. Gino made that obvious. But like development is such an important thing because there's developing at the college level and then prepping while still in college to play at the NFL level. All right. That's all I'm saying. All right. And if you're not playing that much in college, I don't know. Whatever.
Even though some guy named Patrick Mahomes went 8 picks later and became a 3-time Super Bowl champion with the Kansas City Chiefs. Trubisky ended up being a massive disappointment for the Bears, as they cut their losses and released him in 2021, and he's since become a journeyman backup for the Buffalo Bills, Pittsburgh Steelers, and Tennessee Titans. Jets drafting Christian Hackenberg in the 2nd round of 2016. Hackenberg never played a single snap with the Jets or in the NFL. He just...
Oh, yeah. I remember him. Sorry, I don't know.
Dad on the bench. Hackenberg was traded to the Raiders in 2018, but never made their final roster. He also had brief stints with the Philadelphia Eagles and Cincinnati Bengals, but also never made their final rosters. Hackenberg did play professionally in 2019, as he suited up for the Memphis Express of the Alliance of American Football. Now, in the time since, Hackenberg's become a quarterback's coach at Winslow Township High School in New Jersey. So, yeah, looking back on this selection, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Isaiah Wilson getting drafted 29th overall in 2020. After reaching the 2020 AFC Championship game before getting defeated by the Kansas City Chiefs, the Tennessee Titans decided to draft a new offensive lineman to protect Ryan Tannehill for the upcoming year. And with that, they drafted Isaiah Wilson with the 29th.
I wonder if Alex Leatherwood's going to be on this list. I don't know if he was like a 1st or 2nd rounder. If he was a 1st rounder, definitely he should. But 2nd rounder, maybe? I don't know.
Pick of the 2020 draft, hoping that the former Georgia Bulldog would become a strong and reliable offensive tackle. Yeah, so about that. Wilson ended up getting into some trouble off the field, as he was arrested for a DUI during the start of the 2020 season. Wilson was on the COVID list before the start and during the start of the year, and wasn't activated until October of that year. Wilson played in 4 snaps during his time with the Titans, and was suspended for violating team rules in December. Wilson brought poor production to the Titans, had off-the-field issues, which resulted in him getting traded to the Miami Dolphins. But he never played a single snap for him, as he showed up late to his physical and orientation. The Eagles drafting Jalen Reagor 1 pick before Justin Jefferson. Eagles needed a new speedy wide receiver for Carson Wentz to work with after losing Nelson Aguilar in free agency. So they drafted Jalen Reagor with the 21st pick of the...
Isn't Jalen Reagor like, I think, isn't he like one of those players who's like, essentially, not literally, but like essentially banned by the city of Philadelphia? like people would like actually shame him. There's like a chance he might die if he goes to Philly. I'm pretty sure he's one of them, right? Because I don't think it was Jalen Naylor. I don't even think Jalen Naylor's ever been an Eagle. I have no fucking clue.
Draft, hoping that he would bring his speed to Philadelphia like he did at TCU. Rager ended up not panning out for the Eagles, as he caught 64 receptions for 695 yards, scoring 3 touchdowns and rushing for 6.
Certainly, we expected more out of him. We had an honest conversation with him after the season about what he needs to do to get better and how he can help.
8 yards on 14 carries in his 2 years with the Eagles. He dropped passes, sustained injuries, and muffed 2 punts in the team's 2022 wildcard round playoff game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Rager was traded to the Minnesota Vikings in 2022, and he had stints with the New England Patriots and Los Angeles Chargers, and was released by the Bolts after the 2025 season. All of this could have been avoided if the Eagles drafted Justin Jefferson, who went 1 pick after Rager and has become one of the league's best wide receivers.
Jalen Reagor, wide receiver, TCU to the Eagles.
Question. Now, right, listen. I think, obviously, not a good pick, right? But there's really only so much you can do if they look good in college. Like, if they're checking all the stuff off the list, right? Like, they do good at the combine, or, like, hold on, let me check. Yeah, okay, this is called picks that made no sense then and still don't. At the time, if they needed a receiver to replace, who'd they say was? Nelson Aguilar. Fast and whatever the fuck else. If he was, like, catching in college, did good at the combine, and all that jazz, there's really only so much you could do about fucking up a pick. Especially if a good player right after them is, like, similar, right? Now, again, that's just shitty luck, okay? That's not being ass prior to going into the combine and getting drafted, right? Like, Trey fucking Lance, okay? Trey Lance was fucking eye candy. Everybody just looked at the 28 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and the 67% completion rate and went... But, like, if Jalen Reagor looked good in college and the combine, and, you know, if he had a dropsies problem in college, okay, then that makes it a bad pick, right? I'm not trying to defend him, right? Like, obviously, from what I'm seeing and from what I've heard about him, he's not good, okay? Especially if he isn't playing for a team right now, which I don't think he is. But realistically, you can't do anything to avoid that, right? I'm sure if Justin Jefferson was taken by the Eagles, the fucking Vikings probably would have took Jalen Reagor, right? It wouldn't have mattered. One of those teams would have fucked up. That's all I'm saying. Again, I'm not trying to defend the guy, but I mean, I guess I am at the same time. Whatever. Not entirely his fault. You can't, like, you can't be mad at just him, right? I guess we're about to find out.
Nice. Get Justin Jefferson on the clock right now. Wow.
Cardinals moving up to draft Josh Rosen in 2018. Looking to start fresh for the 2018 season, the Cardinals drafted UCLA quarterback Josh Rosen with the 10th pick of the 2018 draft, and he famously said, "There were 9 mistakes ahead of me."
There were 9 mistakes ahead of me.
Baker Mayfield, I mean, maybe for like a split second, but like I think even initially he was better. Saquon Barkley, Sam Darnold, I mean, comparatively so. But now he's a Super Bowl winner. Same with Saquon. Denzel Ward, Bradley Chubb. I mean, I haven't heard a whole lot about Bradley Chubb. I know he's good. Quentin Nelson, probably a future Hall of Famer. Josh Allen, future Hall of Famer. Roquan Smith, I think. I don't know. He's been really good. And Mike McGlinchey, he's been pretty solid, right? Like a solid, like 85, I think. I don't know.
Made ahead of me, and I will make sure over the next decade or so that they will know that they made a mistake.
Well, when the season started, Rosen was not just bad, he was downright awful. as he struggled against opposing NFL defenses. Rosen completed 217 passes for 2,278 yards, throwing 11 touchdowns against 14 interceptions, and rushing for 138 yards on 23 carries.
I read about that picture.
And he fumbled the ball 10 times and lost 5 fumbles in his rookie season.
I'm absolutely the best quarterback in the draft, by far. I want to win Super Bowls, and I want to have the most. So I'm coming for Tom Brady's record.
Yeah, the Cardinals cleaned up shop and drafted Kyler Murray in 2019 and shipped Rosen off to the Miami Dolphins via trade. He had brief stints with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, San Francisco 49ers, Atlanta Falcons, Cleveland Browns, and Minnesota Vikings before ultimately retiring from the NFL in 2023. Raiders drafting Alex Leatherwood 2021 and releasing him 1 year later. Looking to fix their offensive line, the Raiders drafted Alex Leatherwood with the 17th pick of the 2021 draft, even though draft experts had him going later. Leatherwood played at offensive tackle for 4 games, but struggled and surrendered a league-high 65 pressures. The Raiders tried everything they could to help Leatherwood by moving him to offensive guard, but they released him before the 2022 season and continued to have offensive line problems. Meanwhile, Christian Darrisaw went 6 picks later and has emerged as a Pro Bowl standout for the Minnesota Vikings.
We love Christian Darrisaw. We are Christian Darrisaw lovers in this house. And Donovan Jackson. Love both those guys.
But hey, which NFL draft pick are you still scratching your head over?
Scratching my head over. Initially, I wanted the Panthers to take CJ. And then we drafted Bryce, okay? And I wasn't mad. I wanted CJ solely because he was taller, right? Taller, and then he had the season he had versus Bryce. And I, maybe for a day or two, I was like, fuck, we should have taken CJ. And then I thought about it, and I compared their situations. CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, I think. Yeah, no, Tank Dell, and I think a third one, I can't remember. Plus a solid O-line and a good-ass defense with a good defensive coordinator and a solid head coach. Bryce Young. Questionable O-line. Adam Thielen and... I can't remember who else. Because I think we got rid of Chark we got rid of Chark the season we got Bryce. I think we also got rid of Laviska Shenault. I don't even know what the fuck's going on with him. I don't know where the hell he is. David Moore and Tommy Tremble, as well as Ian Thomas, I think. And defense that was kind of stapled together, and then we lost Derek Brown for the season. It's kind of one-sided, okay? So it also kind of depends on, it depends on where you go, right? With some of these people, it was just bad teams, which leads to very poor development sometimes, and it's a shame, right? I was initially confused about the Tet pick, okay? I won't lie, right? Because our defense was so terrible. And I think we had barely convinced Ajero Evero, our defensive coordinator, to stay for another season, right? Because, again, I think he's a great defensive coordinator. But when you're playing with a defense that looks like it could be built from free agency, I'm not shitting on the Panthers. I love my guys, okay? I love them to death. I support the hell out of them, right? Our stars were Derek Brown and J.C. Horn. J.C. Horn had had injury problems up until the last 2 seasons, I think. And Derek Brown went out in Bryce Young's rookie season with for the whole season, actually, with I think a knee cartilage tear or something. I have no clue. But I was hoping we would draft Jalen Walker, and I think a lot of people had Jalen Walker on their list. I was one of them. Then we drafted Tet, and I was like, I guess, because we didn't have any receivers. Xavier Legette had let us down the previous season, and I'm pretty sure Tommy Tremble right now is on the chopping block, and Jatavian Sanders has had injury problems. So I am hoping this season in this draft that we draft a tight end. I don't know if we need to do it in the first round. I wouldn't. I wouldn't hate having Kenyon Sadiq on our team. That's currently who's they have a lot of lists have us taking at 19. I wouldn't mind it, but we also need some more defensive pieces. Because I don't know. I don't know. It just feels like we need more defensive pieces. I also think we should have re-signed fucking Jalen Coker this season. But, oh wow, a 30-minute video. Yeah, you guys will enjoy this, right? I'm sure you will. I'm sure. But that is going to do it for today's video. Hold on real quick.
Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking the like button
I will click the like button.
helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next.
Yeah, I just watched the other day the video 10 FL players you didn't realize died this year. I didn't know most of them. But I feel like saying you didn't realize died this year. I mean, maybe it was some of like the older guys, but like naming like a younger guy like Rondale Moore. I think a lot of people know that Rondale Moore died. R.I.P. But yeah, that is gonna do it for today's video. Sorry, I know I've done the outro twice now, but I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, please consider, checking out at least. Just checking it out. The gaming channel. If you don't like it, you don't like it. That's A-okay. If you want to just come back here and you just want to wait for more FNAF stuff, because let's be honest, you're probably expecting FNAF today. I don't have a schedule though. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and I will see you at some point soon, hopefully. Later. I don't know why I did that like a fucking anime person. Help. Lord help.